All right, all right. I think we got this going. If you can hear me right now, will you please give me a little sign of life from the community of Redwood? All right, very good. Thanks all. Um, Man, one of these days, out of the gate, I'm gonna nail this whole Zoom to YouTube connection. So yes, if you look over, if just a minute. There we go. Sorry, I was getting some echo on myself. Yes, so if you can help me, if you go back to the YouTube, if you see that where the YouTube was scheduled, I had to start a new stream on YouTube, and I did mark that. I put the shared the link into the other YouTube and channel, and I think we're gonna go. I think we got this going, and it'll be up on a different channel on YouTube. So go back to the main channel page on Redwood if you want to watch from there. Anyway, it is great to be with you all. I am low resolution. I'm with my kids on spring break, but happy to be with you all. And thank you for taking your time to come and join us today. Here's what we're going to do. So the first 30 minutes or so, now that we start a little bit late of this meeting, we're just going to do presentations on what's new in Redwood. We've got some exciting things happening, exciting things coming up that I get to share with you. Amy Dutton is going to tell us about a new course that she just launched along with Zeal, the consultancy, where she's the head of design. She's a wonderful engineer as well. And we'll have Kris Coulson from the Redwood core team come up and talk about a new thing that you can integrate with your Redwood project. I'm also going to talk about the releases that happened, a really cool upcoming RC. And then we'll kind of take a pause. And if you want to stick around and join us, you'll have an opportunity to go into breakout rooms. We'll stop the live stream video and you'll be able to join the core team, members of the core team, for small group conversations. Early on, we used to do contributors meetup where we would just make time every month, maybe even a couple times a month, to get to know people that were participating or interested in participating in the Redwood project itself. And we loved doing those meetups, and this is a continuation of that. So that's what that's for. No pressure to stick around. You'll need at least audio to do that so we can chat in small groups. And I think that's it. Sound good? If so, I'm going to kick off and tell you what is new in Redwood, what happened last month, and a few things that are upcoming for this next month. So if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and share my screen again. Okay, you should be seeing the change log for Redwood. This is the main area where we keep track of the versions that are coming out with Redwood. And if you've never visited our GitHub repository, Redwood.js Redwood, I highly recommend you do, because there's a lot of activity happening there every day. And you can also go to our forums. I'll show you where that is in a second. This is where you can find out everything that came in with the new code releases on Redwood. So about 3 weeks ago now, we had the v4.4 changelog, which was primarily a lot of fixes to the project, an easy upgrade. This was just a Semver minor. And something that we've never really highlighted publicly is just how many things are getting upgraded behind the scenes, because yay, NPM. Like, you know what's better than a few node modules? More node modules. And boy, howdy, we've got an abundance of them. But behind the scenes, with every upgrade, you're getting bumped to the latest of every version dependency that Redwood has, as long as it's not breaking, because if it's breaking, we save that for Semver major. But one of the advantages of running a Redwood project is you don't have to do this yourself. Apparently, we really like paying, and that's why we started Redwood, because we just want to see how many node modules we can manage. But actually, we have automation help with that now. So there's AI now. It's not too bad. But anyway, that's a great reason to upgrade, is because you get dependencies upgraded as well. All right, on the 4.4, there was a patch release here. This was something, if you're using GraphQL scalers, you needed to upgrade to. I didn't want people to miss that. Another patch release, this came through. This only affected two types of projects. If you were using clerk auth in a specific way, where you were re-authenticating and navigating. And then also, Prisma has a very cool product, and connection pooling is one of the things that they do. If you were using Prisma connection pooling, there was a very edge case where it was possible to wipe out your production DB. So, edge of an edge case. We took care of that here because that's my worst nightmare. Like nobody wants that. Like, yeah. So anyway, we didn't want that to happen to you either. So that's what v4.4.2 was for. And 4.3, we had a little bit more work on the clerk that came through and just some other breaking changes, fixes that we were able to get up to. So what I want to point out is that everything that happened in the minors and the patches was very easy to upgrade to. And there's one way you can always find out. Well, actually, there's a lot of ways. There's a new, very simple way you can find out if your Redwood project is ready for an upgrade. And I want to show you one more thing here. So let me share my screen. We're going to flip over to a freshly installed Redwood app project. So this was, I just ran create Redwood app. And if you've installed your app, I think starting with version 4, you will have this configuration already set. If you did it earlier, you need to add it now. And that's why I'm showing it to you, because let me boost this a bit. All right, hopefully you can see that. So scrolling right down here, redwood.toml is where all of your project's configuration lives. And if I look at that, I've got a new configuration option called notifications. And version update just takes a string of arrays, array of strings. And what happens is at the command line, occasionally, when there's a new version that's the latest, think of that as a stable version, these are NPM tags, you will get an update at the command line that there's a new version available for you and the yarn redwood upgrade command to run. But you can also do this, which is really fun. You can do RC. You can also do next. You can do canary. And let me tell you what those are for you. And you don't have to do all of them. You can do just one. You can do any set that you choose. RC are the release candidates for the upcoming latest releases. So for example, we're about to have a 4.5 RC, which will be for 4.5 released next week. Next is the branch that we have that's pre-released to an RC, a release candidate. So you may be on next if you're excited about something that's coming in 4.5, but we don't have the RC out yet. And a canary is the bleeding edge of Redwood. So if a breaking change comes in, it goes into our main branch, and we release every time a PR comes in, and that's a canary release. So if you're excited about the future of Redwood, the next major version, use the canary releases to get notified of those. If you're on a canary version, I know that there'll be a few of those published every day. But why would you want to use a canary? Because there might be some new features coming out that you're really excited about, but there'll be some breaking changes you have to modify your project for to get there. All right, sound good? I've got one more update I want to tell everybody out, but first I want to take a look at the chat. Does anybody have any questions before I talk about the V5 RC that is now out? I want to show you how to use that. Anybody have any questions? I'm watching the chat. Oh, if someone could watch the YouTube chat and pop those over here, that'd be really helpful. And secondly, Amy Dutton, I'm going to have you come up here just after I get done with the RC and talk about what your little project that just came out. Okay, no questions. I've got a question. What version is your project running on right now? I want to see, and then this will be no shame, I'm just curious. I want to see who has the lowest version of a Redwood project right now. Kevin? See, Kevin moved to the top of the class, but no, that's not what I'm going for right now. I want to know how old your app is. Jay, also overachiever. Kevin and Jay at 4.4.3. For those of you listening in from YouTube. 3.8 from Raj. Okay. Yeah, Raj, because that bump up to 4 with the custom auth, I know that was intimidating. Anthony Campolo comes in at 2. Oh, Jayish, overachiever. He's running Canary. All right, that's helpful. Thank you all. As a core team, we want to make upgrading to the latest majors as seamless and as easy as possible. We understand the pain of breaking changes. So it's good to see that a lot of you are on 4. Raj, honestly, let us know if we can help you get up to 4. We think the auth improvements were worth it, but we understand there's some pain to do that. So a great place to get help on any major upgrade is over in our community. And let me show you something next. What's coming up here in Redwood. Sharing my screen once again. I want to go right over here. All right. V5 RC, everybody. That's right. You've been waiting longer than I care to admit to get your paws into React 18. So that's right. With V5, the major changes you're going to see here is that we have upgraded to React 18. We are starting to use suspense for streaming. So we did a lot of work here. The holdup was that we needed to get into some pre-render changes to support React 18, which took us a bit of time, but it's done and it's rocking. And also we're up to TypeScript 5 in this release. And here's a whole lot more breaking changes that happened. And then there were a lot of very minor breaking changes that could happen across the board that were related to package dependencies. So does that mean if you have custom implementations, you may have to make some changes? There was one with Jest we had to make, but we have marked all of those over here. And I'm going to go right up here at the top. If you click on this, now we're in the community forums, and this is the RC for version 5 upgrade guide. And wanted to highlight this to you all because this is where you can see everything that has changed, all of our upgrade guides and notes, including code mods. And also this is where you can post questions. If you have availability, the most helpful thing you could do right now to support the project is try out our RC for version 5. We want to make sure that all of our modifications we did to pre-render and everywhere else for React 18 is rock solid before we do a release. This will be a long release cycle. There's one other forum post that's happening. We had some issues with being able to support serverless. And frankly, where was that guy down here? Dropping support for serverless. Frankly, it's been a shaky provider ever since we started it, although we completely understand why people would want to deploy directly to AWS. We're just not sure the serverless framework configuration code is the right way to do that. We think CDK is. And I need your support here because we had talked about dropping support for that. We're not going to do that. We are going to deprecate it most likely, but we need to know who's on serverless and why. And we're going to make this navigation really seamless for everybody. We will not leave anybody hanging, but I need to know information about those who are on serverless right now. I think those are all the major things that are coming in on the release side. Anybody else have questions about RC5? I know Jay, I'm with you. We're not letting you. So here's the thing: you actually don't need the serverless framework to deploy directly to AWS. It just made it a little bit easier until it didn't. So that's what we're going to figure out, man. We're going to find a way for people to deploy to AWS even easier. And in the meantime, there'll be this intermediate period. But the good news is we're not gonna affect anything. In the meantime, all right. I got questions. No questions. All right, Amy Dutton. So I have to first find you over in my little thingamajobber. And where is Amy? Amy, you should be able to.
I can unmute myself.
You can unmute yourself, right? See, I'm not doing all the fancy. All right, in just a second, you should be able to start your video. Hey, people in the community, be kind to us. Oh, no. Look at that. Look at that crispy resolution and that silky smooth voice. Yeah, that's great. I am also going to give you permission to screen share. And
wow.
I'm just going to be quiet. I do. That's why I just sit here and talk so long. Who would have thunk it? All right. So video is good. And now you get to share your screen. Go nuts. I'm gonna
go
hide my screen, but
you better be careful saying go nuts.
Hey, I trust you.
Good.
I can see it. I can see it.
Excellent. Okay, perfect. So I have been working on putting some curriculum together around Redwood, and really I fell in love with Redwood when actually we had David come on the Compressed FM podcast, which is a podcast that I co-host with James Quick. And he started talking about, like, what if you could just run a command and Storybook runs, and you could just run a command and Jest runs, and you have all the testing and you don't have to do all that setup yourself. I was like, this is brilliant. Sign me up. And really just fell in love with Redwood. And even now, I like to have at least a pulse on the other frameworks and things that are in the industry and the things that are available. And I just really feel the pain that all these other frameworks have in setup. some of it's the decision fatigue, but some of it's trying to determine all the configurations. And the fact that Redwood has all of that, batteries included, really is full stack without the pain of full stack. And so it has been a pleasure to work on the curriculum for this. So I just wanted to share some of the things that are part of it. If that's something that's interesting to you, I'd love to have you as part of the Learn with Redwood community. So this is the website, learnwithredwood.com, and you can come on here and find a lot of the information. If you scroll down, there are team packages if your team wants to get on Redwood, but it also has all of the curriculum. If I come on down here, you can see all the different pieces that we walk through. And this course is a little bit different than some of the other courses that I've put together for other frameworks in the past. So one of the things that a lot of courses do, and stuff that I've done in other courses, is that you do all the styling, and then you do, maybe I'll create all the components, and then you do the tests, or you put the pages together. And then testing is sometimes like a bonus module or something that you think about after the fact. But if you've ever worked on a true development team with other people, that's not how development works in real life. You're working with a project manager that will say, here's a feature set that I need you to work on. And so what you do is you do all the styling for that component. You create the component, and then you do the tests for it, and then it gets integrated with what you're working on. So the entire curriculum for this course is centered around that development process, so that as a user and a student, you get used to that feature set development cycle. And that's how we're working. So you can ensure that as you work through the course, that all of your code is tested, that it's continuing to work as you upgrade and do other things. You have all of that built in. So anyways, I would love it if you want to take a look at all of the curriculum and all the things that we talk about. And then I just want to also give you a little brief preview of some of the content itself. So in this course, there's, different ways that you can learn. And one of the things that has been the most beneficial to me, at least when I'm learning, is through a project and applying the stuff that I'm learning, those concepts, to that application. Like, it doesn't do a ton of good if you're just like, oh, that's interesting variables, you can save content. But then when you start to say, oh, this is why I need a variable, this is how use state works, this is how I can display that information to the end user. So through a project, through an application, is where you're able to apply that information. So what we're building in this course is a application called Rotten Ratings, and it's a spinoff of Rotten Tomatoes. So we are working with the movie database, which is an open API that you can ping, and you can get the most trending videos, popular videos, TV shows, and things like that. So we integrate directly with that. So you'll get experience in what that looks like to connect to a third-party API, which I must say is beautiful when you're working with Redwood. You can set up basically a custom resolver with a GraphQL schema to be able to deliver content the way that you want it. So if you look at the movie database, sometimes their API is a little weird. It feels a little rough around the edges. It's not necessarily the way that I would want to consume data. And with Redwood, you're able to deliver that content the way that you want to consume it, which is really beautiful. And then also just working with Storybook. So we're building out a Storybook with all of your components and testing those components as we build them out. You'll notice here, this is a slider that exists on the homepage of the project, and we are using Framer Motion. So you get a little bit of extra-ness in this, and learning how to work with Framer Motion to have animations to take your projects to the next level. The other thing that's really fun that I'm a little proud about is here we have a percentage sign, and this is the beauty of Storybook, is you can adjust these things. So this percent here with the ring is a custom SVG. So we also talk about how to create custom SVGs, how to get that to work with your code and display that information. So as I'm updating this, you can see that the ring is updating and the color is changing, and that's all just a custom SVG. So that has been fun for me to put together and fun to teach. So I think that those are really the highlights. I'm happy to share more details about individual components and things like that, but a lot of that information is included on the Learn with Redwood site. You can see that there's a lot of content there that you'll be able to go through, and FAQs if you have any questions. David, do you have any? Can hand it back.
I just think it's amazing. Yeah, I've been so excited. There's two 30-minute periods in my life where I was like, that was good. What happened there? There's a long tail. And one of them was when, not knowing you, I pitched you on Learn with Redwood and you took me up on it. Again, Amy's background is design, front end, has gone to full stack, is very competent, was a teacher and doing a lot of instruction and showing people and very passionate about it. And she's just a beautiful fit for the ethos of Redwood and what we were trying to do. See, like when you use Storybook, Amy, it looks amazing. When I use Storybook, it looks like a very clunky UI, but like now I want to build stuff. And I love that you get to do a curriculum that's, and for everyone else now it's available. You get to learn Redwood without having to set up Storybook, figure out how to do mocking for cells in Storybook, which by the way, is really, really hard. But you don't have to worry about that because it just works. And all kinds of beautiful things that are happening across the stack. So highly recommend this course. If you're intimidated by the price, highly recommend you talk to Amy about that. Highly recommend.
There's actually a code right
go ahead.
now. There's actually a code right now. So
whisper it so that only the people watching can hear.
It's I need to find it. It's creating zeal, but it's spelled uniquely. So maybe I can.
You want to pop it in the chat?
Yes, I would love to pop it in the chat.
All right, yeah, pop in the chat, and then I could cancel the screen share. I'm gonna bring Kris up because Kris is gonna talk about another super cool thing you can do with Redwood.
Okay,
but
so
Amy,
I'm gonna stick this in the YouTube chat.
You've inspired me that you got so excited about this. I can't imagine how much work you put into it. This is going to be pure gold for Redwood and for the community. And for if you don't have to use Redwood, it's going to be pure gold for anyone that wants to just expand their skills as a developer. Yeah. Like that's the ultimate dream. Is we get to help level people up.
Makes it easy.
Yeah, turns out. So it's already hard. So we didn't want to make it harder.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Kris Coulson. If you're out there, I need to find you, and I'm going to unmute you. Oh, there you are. But see, you can't talk. But now you can.
Ooh.
Maybe.
There you are. I think I'm good. Let me find.
All right.
I'll try sharing. I gotta find the desktop. It's desktop 3 and it's not showing up on here. I only got 2 desktops. One sec.
You only got 2, but you have 3?
Yeah.
Zoom.
Yeah, I have 3. All right, hold on.
Zoom's excited about it. All right. That's you. I'm out of here.
Do we see? What do we see?
You now.
Oh, this is the wrong thing. That's
I
not the right thing.
I see the
We're screen, right?
Mac background.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. I mean, like the center of a tulip.
All right, here we go. Try this one.
All right. Oh, that's it. All right, it's all you, buddy.
Cool. Yeah, so today we're going to just talk a tiny bit about Inngest and some of the work we've been doing alongside of them. So Inngest is a background job, cron jobs, webhooks. I mean, you can kind of see what they do here. And we wanted to make it easier to run background jobs in Redwood. So we're working alongside of them and building out ways to integrate. You can see we chose Inngest because not only they do have it is a hosted solution, but we really love that the fact that they're completely open source. So if you wanted to, you could run your, you can come down here and you can self-host. So we think that's really powerful and gives you great options and easy, quick start. So what we will do is I will show you how our new setup command works. And this is a demo setup command. We're experimenting with new ways of setting up things, and as well as in the background, we're kind of integrating more tools to make this even better. So the code lives at GitHub Kris Coulson /rw-setup-ingest, but we make it super easy to run it directly in your project. So I'll come over here, and the first thing that you're going to do is run yarn dlx Redwood setup ingest. And when that runs, you will it'll install ingest and configure ingest. So after this is running, you will be shown these 5 files. It'll install ingest here. It will set up the ingest function handler. So this is what will live at /ingest or localhost 8911/ingest. It will set up the ingest client for you, and it will set up your first webhook, or not webhook, but your first cron job or a scheduled function. So let's take a look at how this works. So if I do yarn redwood dev, this will boot up the dev environment. And you will see if I go to 8911/ingest, you will now have this ingest SDK. This kind of just shows you like what functions you have that are set up. So right now with the setup command, we give you one function. So that'll live here. And if we run the ingest dev environment, we'll set up their dev server. You'll see when we start that up, it'll look like this. And what this allows you to do is you can actually come in here and send events and test this thing out. So if I come back over here and look at my hello world function, let me open that up. You can see we have an event called test hello world. What this function does is it sleeps for 1 second and then returns the body hello world or a name that we pass in. So if I come back over to our dev environment and I hit send event and I click in here and paste the name for that event and I hit send, you'll see that it fires off and it waits 1 second and then it completes. If I come in here and I do this again and I put name here as a parameter and I say Redwood, JSON, and I send, you'll see that it waits 1 second and then it should log hello Redwood down here in the body. A couple other things. So if you ever wanted to run this like in your project and you're not using the DLX or anything, you can, or not DLX, if you're not running their dev server, like right now we're sending events directly through their dev server. If you wanted to, all you'd have to do is create another function and import it into, so there's 1 second, there's this server handler. So you'd create another function in your ingest folder on the sidebar here. You have the client, you have the hello world, you create a new one. We can for now just copy this and we'll say hello Redwood. And then we would import that into this server. So we just need to do and we add it to this list of exported functions. Now, if we come back over here and we look inside our dev server and we refresh, whoops, did I kill the dev server? So it's not that server. Oh no, I made an error. Not 100% sure what I did wrong. Anyway, there we go. Now that the names are different, that new one now showed up. And the same thing if we name this this event 2 should refresh. So this is now our event. We can come back over here, send this one, and it'll completely execute just like before. I think that's pretty much it. I'm not sure, David, is there anything else you wanted me to show off on this? Or had any questions?
How simple and amazing it is. I guess
Yeah,
the last question I'd have for you is, how do you know that this is a good thing to do, Kris?
how do I know? I've been using this for a little bit in my own project, and it makes running these jobs way simpler. Especially once you get into Inngest, they have like a whole dashboard. You can see all the events that are coming in. Scheduling is extremely easy. So like right here, like what happens is this, when this function gets invoked, it'll wait for 1 second. So if we turn this up to 10 seconds, and we ran the same event, so, okay, and we sent this event, you'll see right here that it's waiting 10 seconds before it executes, and they give you a whole UI, and you can see that it's waiting for 10 seconds. And once it hits 10 seconds, it'll fire off, and you have everything visible to you. So even in your production app, like you can see all these events coming in, what's happening in your app. And yeah, besides that, just the simplicity, like you can run multiple steps in order. So you could say like here, I forget the syntax off the top of my head, but basically you wait for the step to run, and then say like call database, and then it'll wait 10 seconds, and then you can then run another step underneath this that says like, I don't know, save to analytics, right? So there's just, you can kind of just set up these functions to run multiple steps in a row, and they will all just execute on time and pretty much guaranteed, which has been really nice. I don't know if you guys have used any other cron job type things, and it's just a pain in the ass.
Yeah, we're really excited about this. We have a close collaboration with the team from Inngest. They've been moving really fast. It's an early project. A couple of things that are important about it. It works whatever infrastructure you're on. So if you're on long running traditional servers, if you're on serverless, this will work with that. And it's an open source project. So this is a paid service you could use. Kris, I don't know if you know, I'm pretty sure they have a pretty generous free tier, so it doesn't cost anything to get started if you just want to use their service. And obviously they have everything for local dev setup. But if that doesn't work for you, then you could run your own ingest server using the open source project. So there's a lot of flexibility here, and we're really excited about it.
I think that's
Anything
it.
else? Thanks for taking the time to show that. We've got more to come.
Yeah. Was there any questions, David? Did you see if there's any
things.
questions?
Yeah, why don't we, if you do have some questions, I'm going to share my screen. I want to show one more thing that's happening here, and then we're going to end the live stream and go to some breakout groups. But does anyone, while he's here and talking, does anyone have some questions for Kris? And could someone check over on the YouTube live stream as well? Let's see if there's questions coming in for Kris. I'm going to take over your screen share.
Sounds good.
Stopping, continuing, canceling. There was a question that came in. I'll let you do that, Kris, and then I'll do one more thing. Oh, DT was just telling people what's going on. Okay, one last thing to end with. On our community forums, community.redwoodjs.com, there's 2 new categories I want you to know about, and one of them is experimental features. We are trying to move faster and get things out that we're thinking may be of interest. But here's the thing with an experiment. It is not a promise. Unlike async await. I could have done that in the opposite direction, Kris, and probably landed that a little bit better. But as far as dad jokes go, that wasn't my best one. But I'll work on that for next time. Anyway, we have many experiments happening now and many experiments in the hopper that you're going to be excited about. These are things you can try out and test in your project. And we want to know if you like it. We want to know if it's working, and we want to know how we can make it better. And that will allow you as a community to drive support for new features coming down the proverbial hopper. Here are some experiments that we have in motion right now. But again, none of these things are guarantees that they will be a feature. It's a learning process that we have, and we will need your help to get us moving on these experiments. So you'll notice Redwood Studio is coming. This is my plug for the Redwood Talks. It'll be next week. You're going to get a 20-minute demo on something really cool. I couldn't think of other better adjectives to use there, called the Redwood Studio. Also, you're going to see open telemetry. We're going to make instrumenting your Redwood project with open telemetry first class. That's coming soon. You can already try out WebSockets with Redwood.js. And let's just say pretty soon, you're going to see Redwood's answer to what about server-side rendering? So I know we've had a long time to think about how we wanted to answer that question. And I think you're going to like the answer. And then the last category over here is initiatives. We are starting to use working groups as a way to move major initiatives forward. We have one right now for containers that we're working on, so we can have first-class Docker file support and only one Docker file to rule them all, because we've got a lot of options right now. But that's in process. We are updating everyone as we go here. But hopefully within a month or two, you're going to see some progress on that. There'll be more initiatives to come, and we'd love to have people in the community be a part of those. And Kris, I can't think of anything else that's news. We should probably go to breakout groups. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
Wait, how's TeamStream doing? Tell me that real quick.
Dude,
So
it's
Kris
going.
is a part of this whole thing and the Redwood core team because he built TeamStream quite a while ago now, but he was early adopter to Redwood and was doing an amazing job. And you're seeing what you call traction these days. Am I right?
Things have been going pretty well. So I haven't nothing to announce just yet, but there's things in the works.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for you. Teamstream.gg. Yes.
Yep. Yes. Teamstream.gg. Check it out. Go watch some Twitch streamers.
All right. I am ending. Thank you all for joining. Apologies for yet another mess up on the YouTube streaming ability, but you know what? I'm just not sure I want to be able to get that right. Like, I've tried it all and I don't know the ROI. So appreciate you all watching from YouTube and appreciate you all coming live. What we're going to do next is go into some breakout groups. This ends our formal